Dr. Marchand, I'm giving your replacement this video, or the link to this video, and then she's going to send it to you. This is just after Thanksgiving, and there are a lot of things for which you and I should be thankful for. One of the things I'm thankful for is Dr. Chen sending me to you years ago. But if you go to wolvernandmountain.com and click on articles and then look on the right-hand side of the page, there are little 18 critical issues. The first two, one is called On Seeing the Light, which is all about our conversation the first time I came back from Myanmar. The second one is about our conversation about the second time we came back, that I came back. Dancing with Death changed who I am, and that family radically changed me. I've talked about this to you several times. As they say, I'm a different cat than I was before either of those visits. And TT, the oldest one now, is helping me on my webpage. And this is not for publication, I'm going to tell you this, but I don't want you to say this to anybody else. I send that family $500 every couple months. The last time I sent them, it was for $125 because I'm paying TT for helping me on my webpage. And on Christmas, I'll be sending them $600. I send them $500 on a regular basis, but extras, like another $100. I said something to TT one time about trying to find a web administrator, and she volunteered, a 14-year-old kid. And I said, there's no way that you could do my webpage as a 14-year-old. And that's how she wound up doing my pictures, doing captions under all my pictures. About 1,000, half of them are done now. But I told her afterwards, I said, if you're interested in being a web administrator, I'm interested in helping you do that. Their family is, it's certainly not, by Myanmar standards, abject poverty, but they don't have very much. And it bugs the you-know-what out of me. And since, and I'm not wealthy, I'm going through divorces, and I'm still teaching at 76. I'll be 77 next month. And I'll send whatever I have to that family. So in December, she's going to start a private one-on-one tutorial by somebody who knows web administration. And she's going to get the elementary introduction to web design as a 14-year-old. And the striking thing is that she's equipped to do that mentally, and she's also driven. When I said goodbye to the family, almost a year ago, it was a horrible time. It was a delightful time because I was lucky to have met them. but it was horrible to leave. And I said to them, in tears, I'll be back in 3 or 4 years. And I wrote back to them a couple of months after I got back. I said, no, it's not going to be 4 years, it'll be 3 years. Now it's 2 years. I'm going back next winter break in 2019. And you told me the last time we were talking about my family that when I finally decide when I'm going to go back, to let you know. So this is the announcement. In just over a year from now, I'm going back sometime probably around the middle of December to probably the first week in January. But what I need to do is I need to raise $500,000 for 1,250 laptops for 2 student bodies from 2 different schools, and improving internet access. And that's going to cost me $500,000. So I'm in the process of. I had to fill out a form, or I have filled it out, or my CPA has filled it out, called a 501c3, which means I'm a not-for-profit charity that has tax exemption for those people who contribute. They can write off as taxes on their taxes. But there are 3 people that I want to come back with me. 1, you, because I owe you a great deal. The second person that I've invited, in fact, and this is, I don't know why I preface things by saying this is a true story. The second one is Rod Stewart, the singer, and he was born in England, but he's really Scottish, and he's my age. And Rod Stewart became a knight, was knighted by Queen Elizabeth for 2 things. One, for selling millions and millions of records, and also for charitable contributions. And so I couldn't find his email address. And so what I did was I went to his webpage, and they said that they had an email address. I went all over his webpage. I couldn't find it. And besides that, somebody that like Rod Stewart is not going to be getting emails from people and reading them. Certainly not from his webpage. And I couldn't find his address in his webpage anyway. So it dawned on me, what's wrong with just sending him a snail mail? So I wrote him a note and gave him a link to a private section, same section that this video is going to be in, and asking him about going to Myanmar, it used to be called Burma, with me a year from now, and doing at least 2 concerts, at least one in Yangon and one in Tangier, where my family lives. It's a pretty big town. I think it's probably 3,000 or 4,000 people. If he accepts, and he doesn't have any, he has about up to June of 2019 already slotted as far as his tour. But after that, for the next 6 months, there's nothing up there. So it's kind of fluid right now, because I'm sure somebody's working on it, but it's not been decided. I think that he will come back with me, and we'll do a couple concerts, or he'll do a couple concerts in Yangon, one in maybe Mandalay, and certainly at least one in Tangier. with my family. And when you go to my webpage and you look at critical issues, you just scroll down to Rod Stewart. There's a picture of Rod Stewart. Click on that hyperlink and look at the introduction to that index page. And there, in the middle of that introduction, is this video called Forever Young. I thought that song, I love that song. I thought that song was about two young lovers falling in love and then falling out of love, and one saying goodbye and the other saying, I always love you. Watch the official video. That's not what the song is about. It's about some old guy, Rod Stewart, in love with a small little kid, kind of like a father and grandfather, or father or grandfather or great-grandfather in the next generation. That is precisely how I feel about TT and Snow and Fatty. And I mentioned that in my video with my request for Rod Stewart to come back with me. There is nothing that I have done in my entire life that will be more important to me personally, let alone to the people, 1,200 students in Myanmar, as raising that money, improving internet access, and returning to Myanmar to see my family. You're getting invited. Rod Stewart is getting invited. The other person who's getting invited is a guy that works for MSNBC or NBC. His name is Jacob Soboroff. And Soboroff is, he's a kid. I think he's 35 years old. And I did a video for him also. But Soboroff was down in Texas during the mess with the immigration 6 months ago. And just the way he reported it, about the mess that we were putting people through. And I sat there and watched that, and I thought, if I can get him and an NBC camera crew, one or two people, that would be, oh. So I have, now I have you, Rod Stewart, done as far as inviting them. I've done the video for Soboroff. All I have to do is, and I've looked for, I've found emails, and I sent emails to his webpage, and I'm sure he doesn't see it. So what I'm going to do is find out what office he works out of for NBC, and send them a special delivery snail mail, and give him a link. And I don't know whether you know who Clarence Page is, but I'm trying to interview Clarence Page also. Clarence Page is my age, and he's a black editorial writer for the Chicago Tribune. And several years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking up something that he'd written, and I wanted to, quote it. And I couldn't find the newspaper, so what I did was to look in the Chicago Tribune's webpage, and clicked on Clarence Page, and the first thing I saw on their webpage was a video by Page talking about the article that is following. I thought to myself, how come I didn't think of that? And the reason I use that, and if you look at my webpage for the last 3 or 4 years, at least 3.5 or 4 or more years, every essay has a video. The first third or half of those essays are kind of stilted and not very good essays, or essays, but videos. But the more recent ones are much more to the point. But there's a to be able, when you write something out, it's two-dimensional. When you have a video that's telling the person what they're going to find, it gives your essay some dimension, or some thickness, some depth, and it's an easy way for people to read whether you're honest with them. And so I'm honest with you, and I'm honest with Rod Stewart, and also with Jacob Soboroff. I said at the beginning of this video, "5 years ago, meeting a little girl in her living room, a 9-year-old kid, who said, 'Hey, my name is Titi. Do you want to play some games?' And we sat on their living room floor. Their living room is probably 10 by 10, a bookshelf, and a computer monitor. I didn't see the computer, and that was the only thing in the room. These people are dirt poor. And they're my family, and I'm going to help them, and I'm going to help my extended family, those kids that go to school with my 3 granddaughters. And so, if you're free next Christmas time, a couple weeks before Christmas and a week after Christmas, I want you to think about coming back with me. Dr. Marchand, you know me very, very well, and I don't BS anybody. I owe you a great deal. You kept me alive, and because you kept me alive, I've been able to do a lot of things that I would not have been able to do. And if you happen to be free, and I'm not promising you that if you go back with me that your experience in Myanmar will be the same as mine. Can't be. But of all the places I've ever been in this entire world, I've traveled. After I got out of graduate school in the late 60s, I went to Scotland for a year to study, and then the summer before and summer after, I went throughout Europe and part of North Africa. And since then, I've gone overseas, taught overseas. I've gone to the Middle East, I've gone to Africa, I've gone to Indochina, I've gone to China, I've gone to Tibet, I've gone to the subcontinent of India, I've gone to the islands in the Pacific. Of all the places I've ever been, that single one country, Myanmar, changed who I am. And man, I'll tell you, you don't know somebody that's almost 76 years old. You don't know anybody that age that is as determined and as driven as I am. It's part of the reasons why I remain healthy. And also, this is going to be really a short video, and it turns out to be a lot longer than I thought. Do you remember this is before I went the first time. I came in to see you. Ginger, just a second. Ginger. And I came into your office for you checking my heart, and you looked at my hands and you said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I just got a new Irish setter as a puppy, The puppy now is 78 pounds of sheer energy. And I'm going to call her over here and have her let you see her. In fact, well, Ginger, just a second. I'll do this. Will be easier. That's Ginger. Can you say hello to Dr. Marchand, Ginger? Are you a good doggy, Ginger? Yes, you are. Have you bitten me recently? Also, while I'm doing this, the picture on, this is my office in my home. I didn't plan to do this, but this is TT, who I call a young lady, and the lady below her is Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, Ginger. Can you sit down, Ginger? Okay. So I appreciate your listening to, just 1 second. This is not the way that NBC would do a video, but I want you to seriously consider returning with me. The problem with going to Myanmar is that it takes almost an entire day. I think the flight time is about 20 or 21 hours, and the last time I went to Myanmar, I flew from Chicago to Hong Kong and had a 2-hour layover in Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong to Yangon. But almost an entire day is shot either in the air or waiting at a terminal to transport you to the next. But I can give you information about where you can get tickets and things like from a private tour guide. And there's, there are a million things that you could do in that month. You could, and I'll talk to you about this private tour company. They will give you a driver and a person who speaks English in Yangon and take you all around Yangon, take you to Bagan, which is acres and acres of pagodas, and then go up to Mandalay and then Inlay Lake. And Inlay Lake is where Tangier is, and that's called the tourist triangle. And it gives it gives anybody that goes. One is travel. George Santayana said that a person that doesn't travel, a child that doesn't travel, is not an educated child. And that applies to adults. And Myanmar, it was a British colony, and I don't want to give you a lecture of the history of Burma or Myanmar, but I want you to seriously consider going back with me. And we can talk about that later if you're interested and you have the time. So I appreciate your listening to this video, and I hope that my cardiologist, who is going to give you this video, will keep me alive like you have. So you take care, and once again, thank you very much. Take care.